AITA for not giving 24 hours notice to my daughter's roommates before dropping something off. I'm new to Reddit, but my husband advised that I post here and is helping me write this. I am a mother to a 20-year-old daughter. She is a junior in college and attends school in the same city that we live. My daughter and two of her friends live in a condominium that I own. Her friends pay below market rent while my daughter does not. The condo was inherited from my parents and it was their intent that I would pass ownership of it to my daughter when she is mature enough to own her own place. My daughter, husband, and I are in agreement that she will take over ownership of the condo when she is out of school and financially independent. Earlier this week, my daughter mentioned that she had run out of some household supplies and would have to set aside time to go shopping before the end of the week. My daughter's schedule has been especially rough lately, as she has picked up extra shifts at her part-time job due to short staffing. Wanting to be helpful, I offered to pick up the supplies for her and drop them off at her place. She accepted. The next day, I picked up the supplies and took them to the condo. I knew my daughter was in class, so I knocked and, when no one answered, let myself in. The front door opens into the living room. When I entered, I found one of my daughter's roommates being intimate with a man on the living room couch. I was obviously mortified, so I left the supplies at the door and left right away. I didn't say anything to my daughter about what happened because I didn't want to put her in an uncomfortable position, but I did let her know that I had dropped off the supplies. On Friday, I got an angry email from the roommate's parents. I'm not sure exactly what they were told, but their email lambasted me for invading their daughter's privacy. They said that what I did was wrong because I'm their daughter's landlord and I entered the condo without giving 24 hours notice. They're threatening to take legal action if I do it again. I am vaguely familiar with this requirement, but didn't think it was applicable here. Was I the asshole in this situation? I feel bad about what happened, but I also don't feel like I was out of line. Edit. My daughter was aware that I was coming to drop off the supplies and asked that I leave them in the kitchen, which is adjacent to the living room. Edit 2. I am not asking for judgment on whether I violated the law. I checked in with a friend who is a lawyer and he thinks that because my daughter gave explicit permission to enter the home and drop off the supplies, I'm in the clear. I am asking whether I was the asshole for doing so. Update. I called and texted my daughter asking to discuss the situation. She can't speak to me right now because her roommates are fighting and she's mediating. But she is aware of the situation and sent me a quick explanation. My daughter had notified all the roommates that I was coming over, but roommate 1 apparently forgot. The man she was with was roommate 2's boyfriend. She freaked out and contacted her parents because she was scared I would spill the beans. I still don't know exactly what she told her parents, but I assume it wasn't the full story. I have never met roommate 2's boyfriend, so I didn't know it was him. Roommate 1 and roommate 2 are fighting now and, needless to say, roommate 1 will be moving out. I will be writing a more comprehensive, formal lease for roommate 2 for both my protection and hers, but in all honesty, roommate 2 is wonderful and I do not anticipate that there will be any problems. Lol. The roommate was having sex in the common area of a condo she shares with 2 other people. Hard to imagine a real expectation of privacy there, especially with the front door opening right onto where they were. And I wonder what she told her parents. Technically yes, a landlord has to give notice. But the owner's daughter, her roommate, gave permission for you to drop off the supplies. NTA in this instance, and I think you handled it well. You would think she would have appreciated your discretion and learned to have private time in a private setting, her bedroom. But her actions involving her parents say otherwise. SMDH. No one wants to walk in and see that or sit on a communal sex couch. She needs to be more considerate of her roommates. And you definitely shouldn't let yourself in again. Update. I called and texted my daughter asking to discuss the situation. She can't speak to me right now because her roommates are fighting and she's mediating. But she is aware of the situation and sent me a quick explanation. My daughter had notified all the roommates that I was coming over, but roommate 1 apparently forgot. The man she was with was roommate 2's boyfriend. She freaked out and contacted her parents because she was scared I would spill the beans. I still don't know exactly what she told her parents, but I assume it wasn't the full story. I have never met roommate 2's boyfriend, so I didn't know it was him. Roommate 1 and roommate 2 are fighting now, and, needless to say, roommate 1 will be moving out. I will be writing a more comprehensive, formal lease for roommate 2 for both my protection and hers, but, in all honesty, roommate 2 is wonderful and I do not anticipate that there will be any problems. NTA. People who live with roommates should know not to get busy in shared spaces. This isn't legal advice, but any laws regarding restrictions on landlords entering a leased premises wouldn't apply to you when you weren't acting as a landlord but rather as an invited guest of a tenant. Do the roommate's parents think you have to give 24-hour notice if you visit your daughter? And why are this person's parents contacting you anyway? Is she a minor? A minor having sex in your living room? Unless she's a close friend of your daughter's, I'd be looking for a way to evict her because her parents are going to make life hell for everyone. NTA. You were not entering in your capacity as landlord but in your capacity as your daughter's mother. In which case you do not need to provide notice. You also had your daughter's permission. Roommate had no expectation of privacy vis-a-vis her roommates who could have walked in at any time. Regardless of whether they had a class scheduled or not. She shouldn't have been doing it on the couch out in the open. Edit. For all those that are claiming that OP was an OFF for not giving 24 hours notice given that she is both landlord and mother, this logic would then suggest that OP would have to give 24 hours notice to the other 2 roommates before entering the unit even if she was accompanied by her daughter. Whereas the parents of the other 2 roommates could enter without any notice to other roommates. This is just warped logic on so many levels. Anybody having sex on a couch in a living room of a shared apartment should have no expectation of privacy. Is there a formal lease? I would be of a mind that if they want to treat me as a landlord, I will charge market rent. Even as a landlord, you had permission from the tenant, your daughter, to enter the home. NTA. NTA. You were not going there in a landlord capacity but to drop something for your kid. The common shared space area of the living room isn't ever guaranteed privacy. You don't need 24 hours notice to visit your kid. NTA. I don't know where this falls legally, but morally I say NTA. The roommate wouldn't have given 24H for her mom to drop something off. You were acting as a mom, not a LL. And frankly, when you live with roommate, getting frisky in a shared space is disrespectful and risky. Your daughter could have walked in just as easily. And no one wants someone else's bodily fluids on their couch. NTA. You went there as a visitor, the mom of one of the inhabitant, not as the owner. So for me, morally, you shouldn't have to do the 24 hours notice. I am specking about moral, not law. Also, if you rent to them Bell market price, it is extremely ungrateful to threaten you of legal consequences for that kind of little incident. NTA. If they want a landlord-tenant relationship, then give them one, complete with a rental agreement and market rental rate. NTA. You had her daughter's permission to enter the condo to drop the items off. Roommate just feels salty and she should have used more discretion instead of getting caught in a common area in such an intimate situation. And who runs to mommy and daddy about such a thing? Face with rolling eyes. NTA. However, you need to get better at doing the hotel entry. E.g., knock 3 times. Call out, allow time to respond. Repeat. If no answer, then slowly open the door, calling out, giving plenty of time for someone to yell out and you to close the door. Also write back to the parents asking for them to have the couch dry cleaned. NTA. And I would advise the roommate's parents that you are officially going to raise the rent to market rent. NTA. Your daughter lives there. She invited you. It is not the same as a landlord. You were there as a relative. You knocked. You went in to drop off and leave. The roommate JN the wrong. NTA. Because your daughter gave you permission, she should have mentioned to her roommates that you were dropping supplies off. Also, roomie should not be doing it in a common area. I would let her parents know that you're sorry to have walked in on her and that nice young person in such compromising positions, but you had advance and express permission from another tenant to enter. Holy R. Best of Redditor updates Batman. NTA. You offered to do your daughter a favor, and she gave you permission. You were not there in the capacity of a landlord. You also knocked, giving warning that there was someone at the door. What would your daughter's friend have said if it was one of her roommates coming in? Info. Was the door locked or unlocked? NTA. For me, the fact that the roommates are happily paying below market rates as they're living in OP's condo does rather imply that they should be aware that OP may be dropping by. Hell, OP knocked on the door and she had permission to enter from her daughter. If you're living in a friend's mother's apartment, it's not a typical landlord-tenant relationship. My response to the threat would be to respond to the roommate's parents' email, copying her, pointing out that she had no expectation of privacy in a shared living room and that quite easily her roommates could have arrived home to find her and her partner engaged in sexual activity, and OP would be quite happy to let her out of her lease should she feel that her privacy would be better respected by her living in another apartment and paying market rates. I'm sure that the friend has downplayed the sex part in her version of the events. Common sense says, don't have sex in a common living space when you have roommates. It could have been anyone who walked in. I'm sorry it was you. I'm petty and would raise rent to market value if they are going to threaten you as landlord. NTA. NTA. IDK. Why so many people are saying you are. Your daughter said to leave them in the kitchen. Maybe she told her roommate. Maybe she didn't. You were acting as a mom, not a landlord. I'd try having a civil convo with the parents. Also, a lot of parents have keys to their kids' homes. I have a key to my sister's place, and when I go over, when invited, I usually let myself in.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.